In this episode of the Ktdata Anime Podcast, people go picture crazy,
Fish cools fevers,
and fangirl fixes. All that more coming up. The show begins in 3, 2, 1. It's time for the Ktdata Anime Podcast with Dito and Ktdata. The Ktdata Anime Podcast is brought to you by Ktdata.net's coverage of FanX 2014. Keep an eye on Ktdata.net to find out what was hot at FanX 2014. Hey everybody, welcome to the Ktdata Anime Podcast. I am Ktdata.
oh, and I'm coughing all over the place.
And that slobber is brought to you by Dito. This is the podcast where Dito and I, other than trying to choke on some saliva that we cough up, watch some animes, go around, and talk about it. But before we start, Dito, how are you doing, my friend? It's like I haven't seen you in a day or two.
I was doing great up until that moment. I was coughing up my lungs for no apparent reason.
Well, at least you're okay now and not like choking on your own saliva. That would be bad.
What's even more weird is the fact alone that I can actually hear my echo in my own earphones.
I blame Skype for that.
I blame you for that.
I honestly think that would be the most horrible thing to happen because I would be here on the other side of the Skype call, unable to do anything as you're slowly choking to death and have it on tape.
Two things. Laughing hysterically and then praising that the fact alone that I'm dying.
We're good friends. What can I say? All right. So if you guys have never seen the Ktdata Anime Podcast before, you're probably wondering, all right, where do I find out where these animes I need to go watch and do and stuff? Or how do I watch all this? Well, do not fret. We make it easy for you here. All you have to do after I explain this is hit the pause button, go to ktdata.net, look for episode 6 of the winter 2014 season, and then just look in the show notes. You click them, and then BAM! Takes you to the episode. And then when you're done, go back, and then BAM! Takes you to the episode. That's all. Don't need to download anything or just plays in your web browser. Isn't that fancy, Dito?
It's like magic. Internet magic.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Speaking of magic, let's go into our first anime, which has magical love.
さらに凄まじい苦労の連続となる。
おはよう、ダーリン。
And our first anime of the day is Nisekoi, and it's brought to you by Sweet 16. You can get everything you want, but nothing beats a stuffed gorilla. So in our last episode, we have a school field trip, fancy one might I add, with hot springs. Yeah. The test of courage and the plot thickens. And we really mean plot, not plot.
Yeah, we're not talking about plots of land, maybe.
Maybe. So, Dito, there's always a magical time in a girl's life. And that magical time in most cultures is when she turns 16.
Normally, that's only like an American thing, too. That's like usually the Sweet 16, because in normal cases, depending on which country it is, normally that would be about 20. Yeah. But anyways, since this is Kirisaki's Sweet 16, why not get it off with a bang? Literally. I mean, like, open up the doors and they're shooting guns.
But before we get there, it's important to bring a gift when it's somebody's birthday, right? You don't want to be the dude who shows up empty-handed, right?
Yeah, you do.
It's just awkward, man.
No, it's actually quite fun, It's just like, you can be like, Shoo.
Shoo is a gift within himself.
He's so talented and gifted that they didn't even want to bring him.
Yes, he's that gifted on there. So Raku and Onedera, they just decide to, well, it's more efficient to go shopping together, right? Or at least that's what Ruki thinks, right?
Yeah, it's like Ruki is like seriously the greatest wingman ever.
On there. I love it. She's so sly and smooth, especially when she accidentally got a stomach flu and doesn't feel well. On there suddenly after eating 2 lunch specials or whatever.
Oh no, I'm sick. I don't feel well. I'm going home. It's so like fake that you cannot believe it.
And make sure you guys dress in your street clothes and not in your school clothes. That I gotta say, that was a nice touch. It kind of brings back to what we were discussing last episode. Is I love their wingman and the minor characters in this anime so much more than the main characters because they're just so hilarious.
Yes, but then when in doubt, searching for presents and everything itself, why not go to a random, out of the way, secret place
Behind an alley, a shifty looking alley too.
It's just like, of all the, like, this whole town itself, how could you not know about this place?
Yeah, and I'm just saying, somebody else knows about the secret alley because you know what's in the secret place right here? There were potted plants. So somebody's going actively out there and watering those plants and taking care of them when they're not around. Those plants don't grow by themselves and those pots don't just appear out of nowhere. This is not Zelda. And besides, if it was Zelda, they'd break them.
Smash all pots!
And then I love this is Raku in his hastiness because he's with the girl of his dreams wants to ask the simple question of when her birthday is so that he can make a fake party / date with her on that day. While he's so up and at him about them, he just accidentally asked her about the promise that he made with a girl 10 years ago.
Which is quite funny because it was so nonchalant, and you know how it is when you try to confront somebody about something, and you want to know this one thing itself, and then out of nowhere the voice just tells you, say this.
Yeah, have you ever had that happen to you? Where you're so like intent on something and you say something else even more deep, dark, and secretive?
Yes, it is a very good case of foot and mouth syndrome.
I don't think I've ever done this before. Because what happens is when I'm that nervous, nothing just becomes cognizant anymore. It's like,
so in other words, KT chokes on a big one.
Yeah, oddly enough, this happens almost every single time we do an opening for one of my podcasts.
Not safe for work, everybody.
And I'm just like, seriously on there.
Serial, super serial.
Yeah. But I also, so it is what it is. The romance between Onedera and Raku are slowly building together. But there's a party, and we always like to talk about parties and talk about this party, man.
Yes, but there's one thing that about the party is that everyone was invited incognito.
Ooh.
So when they all arrive at Kirisaki's house, she just goes like, darling, come here. I never told anyone that I was a gangster. Or I was a part of a gangster. And everyone he's just like, seriously? Hey guys, did you know that she's part of her family's gangsters? It's like,
oh my God,
so you're just
that's
like
why you're
Raku.
rich.
You're just like Ichijo.
It explains.
Oh my God. Wow. God, I wish I had friends that was that just accepting. I wish I had more friends. Actually, I do have lots of friends that's accepting, or they wouldn't be my friends.
It's
right, KT?
Yeah, but you're not rich. That's the downside. I mean, you're cool and all, but it'd be cooler if you had a mansion.
Just so you can come over, commandeer the hall for your podcasts.
Yeah, why not? I mean, did you not see the halls in that house? Seriously, that was I would have needed a map or something to get around because it's like ginormous. There's a giant ballroom, and then for some reason there's a hallway that has repeating like pillars all along it that I didn't think were seats, but they were seats.
hold on a second. Let me just sit down.
Yeah, he says that. I'm like, where's he gonna? Oh, those are all like benches. Okay, you have a giant house when you have benches on your pillars.
Well, I'm not sure if it was meant to be benches, but it's just kind of like going, and we're gonna sit here because I own this whole thing.
Yeah. You know what else I think? The dad, he looks like he aged a lot between episode 1 when you first see him and this episode, doesn't he?
I never noticed.
Like, I was looking like, man, he looks pretty raggedy compared to the first episode. I wonder if they were just running out of money to animate him.
It's like our budget is slipping, so we must take a little bit less time to render him. But then comes this little fun tidbit. It's like when you have a birthday, Sweet 16, we'll just go with this one because that's what we're talking about. When did it turn into a contest?
I don't know, but I don't know why you would give somebody a year's supply of bananas on their birthday, not due to the fact that you're giving them a year's supply of bananas, due to the fact that you're giving them a year's supply of bananas at once. If I know anything about bananas, they go bad within a couple days.
Especially when they're just sitting out like that.
Yeah.
You have maybe a week at most.
Like give her a gift certificate where she only can spend enough for one banana every day or something.
Or just give her Anka CDs. Yeah. Which happened.
Apparently she has, Kurosaki has some interesting taste in music, shall we say.
Yeah, but nothing's better than Close's I am going to upstage you all.
With my enter custom-made car Modili with all the features.
Enter in vroom vroom.
And normally a 16-year-old girl would be ecstatic about this, but how did Kurosaki react?
Quite logical. I don't have a license.
Plus, does she really need to drive? She's got people to do that for her, being the daughter of a gangster and all, I would see that almost as beneath her, really.
Yeah.
She has more important things to think about.
Yes, exactly. Like Raku's gorilla present that looks just like her.
Oh, dude, I want that so much in real life. I want to get a stuffed animal for my birthday that has my head on the top of it. Would that not be just awesome in so many levels?
Why all of a sudden it got this image of KT on a Build-A-Bear?
Like, come on, that would be so awesome. I would love it. It would go into my plushie collection, which I expanded this weekend on there. But would that not be cool? Do you have a stuffed animal with your head on it?
No.
Why not?
This is my head we're talking about.
My head's like even uglier than yours and misshapen. And
you realize that the fact alone that the camera has not broken yet is because it sits behind this internet thing, and you're lucky that it's not actually transmitting it to breaking your system.
Hey, there's reasons why I keep upgrading my camera all the time. On there.
And downgrading the pixels.
Yeah, so let's have your take. Do you think she really liked it deep down inside and she wasn't just faking it?
Yeah, actually. I mean, it's one of those like after there's a time they've been together herself, she kind of just accepted the fact alone of how they act toward another herself, and it's like going, well, she got a year's supply of bananas, for good God's sake. So why not be okay with a gorilla stuffed animal?
Would you do that? So if you were forced into a fake relationship to save the world, what gift would you get your significant or your fake significant other?
I plead the fifth.
Come on, you need to show public displays of affection somehow.
The fifth.
They're in Japan. The Fifth Amendment doesn't apply. Ooh,
you never said it was in Japan. You said it. Yeah. What about you, KT? What would you give for Sparky?
Sparky, but I actually like her though, so there's a difference.
You're not gonna give her a gorilla. A gorilla looks just like her.
Give her a gorilla. I would. Let's see. I would give her a Aaron Figma, but replace the head with mine.
Good night, everybody. I'm out of here.
Why not? So, I love this. Kirasaki's starting to remember the past. And instead of Raku just blurting out another thing because he's nervous, it's her turn to tell the truth. Oh. So,
And it's not just any truth. It's just like, so, yeah, this phrase, do you know it?
so at this point, Dito, I have to ask, are you on team Kirasaki or are you on team Onodera?
Why not both?
Because that's not how it works in teams. You got to pick one or the other.
Too bad.
Way to be a moderate in life. So, well, we discover that all three of these thick-headed numbskulls, and at this point, I don't put it past them, used to hang out 10 years ago, and none of them remembered.
And the worst part was too. It's not that the girl gave him a locket, the promise. He had a locket and gave the girl's keys.
No. So this is how I think it happened. One of the girls gave him the locket with the key, and then what he did was give a key to the other girl because he didn't want her to feel left out. And it just shows you that Raku was a polygamist back in the day when he was 5.
I bet that he couldn't even say the word.
Still a polygamist.
It's called a harem for a reason, KT. Come on.
They usually, you don't normally have to marry them. I mean, only one of the Tenchi series that somebody married him. The other ones, they just ended up living with him.
Tenchi.
Domestic relationships are acceptable these days, Dito.
Tenchi
did not marry any of them. He's just living with all
Neither
of them.
has Raku.
His cousin, on the other hand, has married all of them. But Raku had intentions of marrying both of them, or why else would he have given them a key?
They're also kids, so that could not technically count. Could, because innocence is bliss until their balls drop. Anyways.
All right. So here's a question, Dito. What would you do in this situation if you and this fake girlfriend that you have both discovered that you used to hang out with each other? One has a key, one has a lock.
It's the same concept as put the lime in the coconut and you shake it all together. Or in this case, breaking it.
Did you notice it was anatomically opposite?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Kirasaki with her gorilla hands kind of snap the key, so awkward.
I had a horrible thought when I first saw that. I was like, it's in! Snap. I'm like, oh, that's gotta hurt.
So yeah. And then what even happens worse is because the non-creepy teacher of the class says, all right, class, we've developed all the photos that we took during the class trip. I don't know when the teachers had to do this because we were toasted the entire time. That's probably why there's so many bad pictures.
Yes. And also the reason why Shu got away with making his own photo setup.
Oh, I was laughing way too hard on this. I was just like, oh dear. Oh dear.
It wasn't up until Shu just goes up to Onodera and was Ruki, and it's just like, don't worry, I got some photos of you, and just see ya.
To cement our friendship, here are some creepy photos of you guys in awkward situations.
I want to know where in the world did he get those photos, and how was he able to take them?
With his hidden camera in his. I'm not gonna say where the hidden camera was.
Glasses.
I love it, and he was charging a fair premium. I mean, $5 for a 3x4. That's a lot of money, man.
Hey, supply and demand. You saw it.
But what happens is that Raku sees this one with Kirasaki on it, and in the background, Onodera is accidentally photobombing it by undressing.
Photobombs and all photobombs.
So he pulls it off. It's like, I gotta go tell the teacher to go delete the negatives and whatnot, or digital files. I shouldn't say negatives. Half our audience probably doesn't even know what a negative is.
I'm not even gonna go there. But anyways, during this time frame too, Raku seems a bit indifferent toward Onodera, and she's kind of getting the wrong
Message.
vibes.
He just has butterflies in his stomach. I think this is a good example of how guys think and how girls think. Because how guys think are like, oh my god, I must not look stupid in front of female. And female's like, why he not say anything? He must not like me. Sad.
It's pretty damn accurate.
On there. So so they bump into each other in the hall. He accidentally drops it. Somehow magically her thumb's covering herself undressing and just sees he has a picture of Kurosaki. Like, oh my god, mixed messages.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. But here's the kicker of it all right now. Raku goes home after his long, arduous day and his treasure accomplishment. It's like goes to his dad and just says, do you have any pictures when I was a kid? Matter of fact, I do. It's like, what?
It's like, yeah, it's not in the house. It's in our ginormous storehouse in the back.
Yeah, this is like, I just so happen to have this picture of you and the girl with the the girl with the key of your locket, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, so it took you 12 episodes to just
to figure out that a key goes into a lock and go looking for a picture.
Yeah. And it's like, I had a promise to 10 years ago with the girl itself. Maybe I might have pictures back then because cameras were still around back then.
Yeah. So the question is, who's on the picture? Guess we'll have to find out, right?
Yes. And also we do have some announcements for this too. We've been saying that how Nisekoi is supposed to be like a half series. We lied.
It's sort of a full series because it's not going to 24 and 25. It's going to 20.
Yeah.
20. Yeah. It's an odd number, but hey, we'll take it.
Technically it's an even number, but
all right. Yeah. Okay. All right. No, it's a non-traditional number.
There we go.
It's a non-traditional episode count, if you want to be correct. But all right, let's go to an anime that actually has a traditional episode count. This one. And our next anime is Witchcraft Works, and it's brought to you by
Manners. Remember, it's always polite to leave your sword at the door in the umbrella stand. I think. Last episode, we saw a city-wide explosion. What happens when you lose your contractor? And flying knee kick. Wah! All right, so I don't even know where to start on this.
All right, so we left when we left.
KT can't
Your
talk.
disease is spreading to me, Dito. So when we last left off, Takamiya has decided to make a contract with the city because it was falling apart, and that kind of takes a lot of mana. So he kind of passed out.
And
Now
stuff.
he's literally having, since it was recently 420, he was having a trip of his life. In this in-between world they call the what do they call the world?
Reminiscence Hall is like the closest thing they got to it.
Yeah.
It's like this world in between since he's now contracted with the city and everything, he doesn't have his own dream world. He comes to this residence hall where his homeroom teacher just happens to
This is where he moonlights because a teacher salary's not enough. This is his second job.
Yeah, so let's start with him. So he is like a memory witch. Like he has the ability to magician. Sorry, he's not a witch. He's a magician. I got to get that correctly because apparently male witches / magicians are very useless in this world.
So the whole world of the witches, it's a matriarchy. The ladies got the power. So there you go, girl power.
But yeah, so he has the ability to alter memories. Because when the city is damaged and someone is hurt by magic, you don't want them to know that they get hurt by
A
magic.
regular person gets hurt by magic.
Yeah, when a regular person gets hit by magic, sure. Sorry, must clarify because we don't want an uproar. We don't want because everyone doesn't really know witches exist, and it's for the greater good of the city. The greater good.
And I guess he does all the work for that. That's a lot of work for one dude if you think about it.
Yes, but we can't go wrong with the doppelganger bear fight.
Yes. So back in the real world, the tower witches are coming at the workshop witches that are still around, which have power now since Takamiya decided to go contract. I hope there's no early termination fee like in cell phones. That would be bad. That would suck.
It might be life-threatening.
Oh,
Spoiler alert!
So yeah, we get to see two giant robots. That's how you say it. Not robots. Robots.
Robears.
That are fighting each other, and one looks like Monokuma from Danganronpa. Sort of. Yeah. And yeah, so that was an interesting fight on there because whatever you attack gets attacked back at you, and right before he decides to lose it, guess who comes?
It was basically just a bear bitch fight.
Yeah, giant bears on there. And we find that Weekend, this is all part of her elaborate scheme to steal Takamiya's powers on there. And he's apparently having a giant fever. And I'm really worried about these Japanese remedies on how to reduce a fever. So let's start out with a mild one, Dito. Would you ever do this?
Okay, hit me.
Would you ever? Okay, so I guess the traditional way is to put a wet rag over your head, right? Cool you down? All right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Would you attempt to boost the power of the wet rag by putting a fish on it?
If it's cold, sure. If it's the only thing around me,
and stack like 3 gazillion of them on top of you.
Yeah, because I look as an ice block. That higher it goes, the more cold it is. Right? Logic.
It's gonna start smelling though when the fish melts.
But that's assuming they melt.
And you get like
assuming that these
goo.
are traditional feet.
You get fish goo all over you. So would you?
But think about it this way: if your fever is hot enough, you could cook the fish.
Oh, it's true. Dinner
outside the box.
Dinner.
The box.
Yeah. All right. So, let's make a choice. Do you take this solution, or do you want to pick what's behind door number 2?
Wait, there's a door number 2?
Yes.
Let's see what's behind door number 2.
All right. So, the other way of reducing a fever is stripping a person down naked and sticking a green onion up their butt.
Yes, door number 2.
I can't look at green onions normally anymore because of this.
It's because of this, KT, right? Right.
And it was like so close to. I don't know. I'm not gonna look at the green onion regularly anymore.
Naked.
Yeah. So we all know what Dito would prefer. So next time Dito's sick, please send your green onions to Dito.
Yes. No, not just niggies. Just give me your niggies. I will put them to good use when I'm sick.
I'm not visiting you when you're sick. Because 1, I don't want to bring you a green onion because I know what you're going to do with it. And 2, I really don't want to see you naked either. Just because the puppet tells you to do it, Dito, doesn't mean you should.
Yes. Believe all puppets. Obey the puppet. Or something.
Yeah. And what's great about this is the conversation between the Row Bunny and the bear from Takamiya's little sister. They're just having their own conversation in their Pokemon language.
This is the funniest thing in the world, I found out, because it's like, okay, episode starts. You have crazy cat lady coming up and everything, and the bear comes out of nowhere. It's just like going as this being bear-like. And it's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Pulls out her own rabbit that is obviously able to translate too, but she can understand the her rubble bunny, but can't understand the bear.
It's like Pokemon, Pika Pika, Squirtle Squirtle.
Ash is the only one who could ever actually understand it, and I think it's because he's crazy.
Probably because he's been 10 years old for over 20 years now. Man,
Yeah. Well, there was a funny mathematical thing about this too. So, Ash starts at the age of 10, and over the time period of like Pokemon itself, due to mathematical logic, he should technically be 16 right now. 17 maybe. In all technicality, he should be at least 16 years old in the Pokemon series if they were to keep track.
But he's still 10.
He's still 10. Animated logic.
And he's still
Out
10,
the window.
but sounds like he smoked like 6 packs a day.
Hey, it's like if you have to deal with that kind of BS all the time, man, yeah, I would be smoking 10 packs a day.
Yeah. All right. So all in seriousness,
Serialness.
endless. She's kind of rigged the entire city and
Weekend.
Weekend. I don't know why I keep on saying endless. Endless weekend. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's what I want in life. But weekend, we have discovered she has spent over a year rigging bombs in the city and in the safe zone somehow magically. It's all magic, anyways, right?
It's witches, magic. It's hand in hand. Anyways.
Yeah, and she has a switch that once she hits it, it's gonna go off. And if the bombs go off in the safe zone, people are gonna die. They don't come back because it's supposed to be this holding area,
The holy area to all tower or workshop witches.
Yeah. So, what does she decide to do? Hit the switch.
Why not?
So now,
It's only to see what happens, right?
yeah. So remember, Vermilion is kind of the trump card. She can pretty much do whatever, because she's Vermilion and she's bored. You can tell how bored she is.
And she has like 6-foot nails.
Yeah. So, Takamiya goes and talks to her, and she's like, "All right, what do you want from me? This is how it works. Equivalent exchange. You gotta be like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back. So
I don't want her scratching my back with those damn nails.
no, think about it. Those would be actually pretty efficient.
Only she has.
As long as she doesn't dig, you should be okay.
If she had like hands that like vices, sure, maybe, because that would be the greatest massage in the world.
But so Takami's like, I want everything to go back to normal. Before all this started, city's okay, everybody's okay. Those people that just died, they didn't die because Vermilion's this powerful. The White Witch, she can do whatever.
Dun dun dun.
And then it was like, all right, I'll do that for you. But you remember what we have to trade for? I want your life. Dun dun dun. So Dito, if you were stuck in this situation, what would you do? Save the world or save your own butt? And keep in mind that your only lover is going to die also if you save the world.
Well, first off, I think it's actually a better trade for my life, because my life isn't worth that much, to save everyone else and just sacrifice 2. I think that'd be the most logical decision too. And also because...
Way to go, Romeo and Juliet on this.
Well, if I'm going to lose my life anyways, then I'm going to help out I'm going to help out the greater good than anyone else. And why not?
All right, fine. He does the heroic thing instead of the selfish thing. But there's a twist.
A licorice twist.
So right before Takamiya is gonna eat it, Kagari goes, "Take me instead," and then she falls to the ground and passes out. And in this moment of sorrow for Takamiya, right in the back, with Weekend. That's a cold thing to do, isn't it?
Well, it was cold steel in the end. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Oh, but that's a kidney, man. She hit him right in the kidney. Not gonna
Well,
lie.
so here's the worst thing about this. She kidney shots him with a knife, then heals him. Well, her minion does.
No, not even heal him. Just patch him up enough so he's probably like in excruciating pain, but not bleeding out to death.
Yeah, I was sitting there going like, so in other words, it's like you're so frustrated about not be able to do anything now. You're just gonna walk off too. You want him dead, but you can't really kill him. You still need him alive. Like, wait, what?
I think this is how Shredder feels in the Ninja Turtles.
No, I think this is how all villains feel. Like, I think Batman and Joker feel the same way too. It's like you can't have one without the other.
Oh man. And then so and then she walks off, and Chrono Noir, she shows up, and it looks like they're friends because they're both Tower Witches and all. But
just to find out that she has a chip on her shoulder with Weekend.
And like the rest of the Tower Witches. I still don't understand why she attacked all the Tower Witches, but she catches all of them, and she thought she was going to have fun trying to stop Weekend, but she's like, man, that was boring. And we see Weekend all tied up and stuff. And then right before Chrono Noir is going to finish it off, guess who appears, Dito?
Superman. Wait, no.
Wrong universe.
Am I really?
Yep.
You think I'm in the wrong universe? Anyways,
Yeah.
no, it happens to be her. Yes. I don't even know what her mother's name is.
It's written in the show notes.
No, it's not.
It is.
I blame you
Line
because
102.
why don't you just say the name instead of that? I'm just gonna let KT say this
All right.
because he's already got this.
So Kagari's mom, Kazane, shows up, and she's like, and Weekend's like, wait a minute, wasn't it going to take a week for you to refer? She's like, and you underestimated how long it's going to take her to get better. She got better in 20 hours, and then she decided to take a vacation. How powerful is she to recover that quickly and decide to just take a vacation? Like, the kids will figure this out.
Just so you know, KT, it'd be nice to put it in order of timeline.
Yeah. Well, no, I put it in order of timeline. So after she took the break, and I don't know why Sparky is messaging me right now.
She heard us calling her name, and her spidey sense kicked in.
So that kind of ties up everything with Weekend. Then we go back to the sobbing Takamiya, because his love is dead, even though they've never admitted they're in love with each other. They just kind of know. And his school teacher puppet phones it in. I guess what you want to call it. And Takamiya's like, well, she's still warm, but her heart's not beating. And he's like, maybe something's awry.
Now it's fixed.
And then so we go back into the into a flashback, and on the end we find out that when Kagari was a tiny little girl, she fell in love with Takamiya, and her entire life has been dedicated to them hooking up.
That's dedication. That's like extreme dedication there.
To the point where you go and make a contract with the world's most, actually even the universe's most powerful witch, to make sure that whatever happens, your lover's going to be alive.
Not to mention too, it's like, you normally don't know, you never go up to your parent and just say, do this, become a principal and make sure this happens. In all seriousness.
Yeah. So
half it works.
Yeah. So okay, let's see if we can keep this in track, because it's a little confusing. What she did was, a little girl was made a deal with Vermilion that Vermilion could have all her powers or something like that if there was ever a point where Takamiya makes a deal with Vermilion to save the world, but sacrifice his life, she would cancel the contract that Kagari made with her, thus returning all the power to Takamiya, which means then he would not need to go to Vermilion for help because he has the power within him. Let that settle in your mind for a second.
Let that sink in for a second because
because
I had so many movie quotes come through my head at that time, just like going, done.
yeah, I literally had to go like back and watch it again to make sure I got that straight. On there, who thinks that far ahead? Seriously.
Apparently she does.
Yeah, so everything goes back to normal. And
Kinda.
yeah, and the next thing we see is Kagare and Takamiya just walking to school like a couple because they still live together.
Like nothing happened, mind you.
And then the end. I actually like this. This is one of the few animes that actually ties up all the loose ends.
Well,
except for the Chrono Noir thing.
then also his seals too.
Yeah.
And exactly what his power was.
To channel the White Witch? I don't know.
That's the thing too. It's like I'm sure they're connected somehow too, but it's like I think the powers were like adapting to him, so it's like he is gaining powers even though he's like linked to the White Witch. But I think there's like another power growing within him too.
I don't know, Dito. But
because that would explain the seals.
Can you explain to me what happened in the previous 12 episodes?
Yes, I can actually sum up the entire series with one word, Katie, believe it or not.
Ooh, what is it?
Magic. You can't deny that.
Yeah, I still don't know what's going on. It's the end of the series. And I'm okay with it. That's the thing. I'm okay with it. It was just a fun journey. What did you think of the series?
When I first watched the episode, like when I was scouting out animes for our previews and everything too, I'm like, this just seems fun. I just got to try this, and I know I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't disappointed in everything. It was a nice, fun ride.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's Witchcraft Works. I'm kind of sad to see it go, and let's just go on to our next anime, which is still going on, and I'm happy about that. And our final anime of the night is Log Horizon, and is brought to you by Jam on a Hot Dog and Mustard on Pancakes. Best deliberate mistake you can ever make?
Question mark?
Yeah. Akatsuki, she sponsored this segment, so I had to put whatever she wanted, and that's what she wanted.
Besides beating down a pervert.
Yeah. She decided to go for that ad read. So if you guys have problems with it, you can go take it up with her. And good luck with that.
Yeah.
So in the last episode, Shiroe is now part of a proper love triangle. Eats all the cakes in the world in time for another festival. La, 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 la,
Dun, 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 dun. It's like if it's not going to be a festival, it's going to be something about another like festival, and if it's not for that thing too, it's going to be a holiday festival. I swear it's like the continuous thing here itself. It's going to be something about, if it's not a fight, it's a festival, and if it's not a festival, it's going to be something like a celebration to a festival.
Yeah. And I love this because my prediction was true. This next entire episode of Log Horizon is all about the ladies trying to get the Shiroe on there. Because it's finally the second day of the festival. It seems like 4 days have gone by. But no, we're only on day 2 of the festival on there. And Akatsuki, she's trying to figure out a way to get Shiroe's attention. And
in
now
all the wrong ways.
Yeah, and now Suku, he's like, hey, if you come with me, I need to do some food inspection.
I need to patrol by eating everything in sight.
Yes. And I'm loving it because the way he gets her to tag along is like, oh yeah, I got some ins on Shiroway, and it turns out pretty much everybody knows how to manipulate her. All you have to do is say the magic word, Dito.
Abracadabra.
You just gotta say, oh, Shiroway needed help with this, and bam, she's there. So pretty much
Or
everybody,
not there.
everybody's like in Akihabara, I swear, knows this is her Achilles heel.
Yeah. I think it's a great thing too. It's just like, after Natsu's like giving her a lot of crap and everything too. It's like, oh, don't worry, here's a big burger for you too. hey, Shiroi. Boom. Gotcha. Nice reaction.
Bam, right under the bench, and he has another burger to eat. And how many patties did that burger have? It had like 5 or 6.
Oh, well, his had like 5 or 6. The one that he gave to Akatsuki was like 16, something like that.
I don't know how structurally that works. Do you have to like stick long skewers through it or what?
I don't know, but all I know is that burger that she was eating was at least half her size. At least.
Oh man, I love it. And what's her face decides to go look for things to help out Shiroe, and so she decides to go ask Marie. And I just want to give you these instructions, Dito.
Meanery.
Step 1, you take a box. Any idea where this is going?
Let me guess. Step 2, you take another box.
No. Step 2, you put a Marie in a box. And then step 3, do you know what you get?
Profit.
Marie in a box.
Step 4, profit.
They should make a song like that. Marie in a box.
One sec. One sec. I will look this up.
I'm waiting. I'm holding on. Number 2 is holding on too.
YouTube has failed. I have nothing in Marina Box.
All right, so and Marie's hiding there because she doesn't want to help with clearing with moving boxes because it's gonna get her all sweaty and not pretty looking, right?
It's such hard work.
But it's her idea to have a booth during this festival, which also was her idea on there. The girl likes to party on there. And then we start seeing
party girl.
Yeah, we start seeing this love triangle change into a love square on there. So because we also see that Henrietta, the mature lady of the group, has the eyes on another glasses, and his name just happened to be Shiroe. Oh, she's the least aggressive of the 3.
Well, okay, so it's a square, but it's still kind of a try. It's still kind of like, wait. Okay, so we have Henrietta here, Akatsuki, kind of like she kind of goes like, yeah. Anyways,
Dito does geometry.
Okay, right angle 90 degrees versus 45-degree angle on there, so leaves X. What is X?
On there,
it's called negative space.
Yeah, this whole episode is just all about who wants to hook up with who, and Marie and now Tsugu. Finally, seriously, those two are finally getting closer to hooking up, I guess.
And that's the greatest thing too. It's like Henriette is playing wingman here.
Yeah,
this is like what I just found hilarious too, because like she really wants to like Marie to really do something with herself, and like she's already seen like how Natsu and Marie get along, and she just Marie just tries to like not show it, but at the same time too, Natsu is kind of a rock.
Yeah, both of them are kind of knuckleheads, but I love it.
Well, she's like Mari's more like knowing about it too. She's just not being honest with herself. And Natsu's just like food.
Yeah. Pretty girl, food, pretty girl.
I don't even think he's really shown any interest in anyone besides food.
But he does like pants.
Yes, he does like pantsu.
Yep. So I almost got another good clip out of them, but they killed it. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. Aw. On there. But we start noticing as these guys are, the love affiliations are starting to fill up. We start noticing that in between these scenes, there's a little strife going on, and it's mostly with the people of the land. And so far, our heroes have stepped in and kind of taken care of the situation, but it's all coming together. And it culminates with oh crap, what's her name? The orphan kid girl.
Orphan kid girl?
Yeah, that used to be the two kids, and the one that has a crush on Shiroe. Whatever her name is, we find out that she changes her subclass
Marie
to apprentice, and now when you're apprentice, you can apprentice a person, so you can learn the person's skills to the appropriate levels, and you get a level bonus too on top of that. So she decides to become Shiroe's apprentice, and she runs into the merchant guys, and they're like way behind on the paperwork, because that's what happens with paperwork in general. You always get behind on your paperwork. It's like, oh, I'll help you out. And
not gonna happen.
yeah, as she kind of like powers through all the paperwork, she next thing you know, Shiroe gets a message like, some of this math is not working out. It's very, very sloppy, and like it looks forged and whatnot on there. So Shiroe is putting it together, and he's like, somebody is attacking Akihabara. Dun dun dun. Attack on Akihabara when a giant monster comes in and eats all the people. Oh, wait. No, wrong anime.
No. Then it reminds me of what one of the videos I posted up on our Facebook page when it's Attack on Titan in a Titan.
Yeah. So Shiro is putting the math together, and he's finding out it's the West. We've heard about the West before, and we've kind of made our prediction that that's where season 2 of Log Horizon's kind of going to focus on, is the people of the land from the West, and we can start seeing them infiltrate on here. And what's Shiroe's hypothesis on why they're doing that, Dito?
Well, a lot of it comes down to the fact alone that the West really seems to be more like under one rule, opposed to Akibara is more free. So trying to send a nobleman over there, because we have whatever his bucket is, Lord Mervis. We'll call him Lord Melvin.
Lord Melvin.
Well, look at his face, for crying out loud.
I don't want to look at his face, because that's not a face.
It reminds me.
That's a face not even a mother could love.
It reminds me of something from One Piece. But anyways, that's like the only thing that came to my mind. I was like, is this like jumping animes here? Anyways, so like Akihabara is very much free, so everyone has the same social status, and with all the riots and all these conflicts that's happening within town, it has to deal with that status. If you are a merchant or a nobleman, you're going to be higher in status than someone who's a commoner, or an adventurer. So, you got to treat them with a level of respect in all reason. But since it's Akihabara, everyone's just having fun. And, once you rain up on that fun or happen to, disrespect a certain princess, things happen.
Yeah, things happen, and part of it is, the West wants in on some of this action that the East is already getting. Because remember, the people of the land on the East, they've made trade agreements with Akihabara, and remember, in this whole world, the adventurers do have the upper hand when it comes to everything than the people of the land, and they want a piece of the pie. So they're trying to cause social unrest. So they're not attacking with swords; they're attacking with popular opinion and trying to discredit the round table.
Or in this case, Shiroe's worst kind of strategy in the world, complete randomness.
Yes, and he flips a table
He does. She table flips.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
With pins too. I would not want to be on the other side of that because I don't want a face full of pins.
So I was trying to figure out, like, I was looking at the pins, like he's just putting them in like random places at different colors and stuff. I thought like excuse me. I thought the pins colors represent something. I think that's just as much random as he was hated, because there was no logic to any of the pins too. Because like I was trying to figure it out. I literally actually did try to figure this out. That maybe the blue ones were just like domestic disputes. Like these yellow ones were for like traffic blocking. Mm-hmm. There's like tax, minor tax fraud. Maybe something else like that too. No. None of it made sense to me. I couldn't even make rhyme or reason to what he was trying to pin up there. He's just putting pins everywhere.
Okay, so how do you fight randomness, Dito? You want to fight it with somebody who's so oblivious that there's an attack going on that he just shows up and sees the situation and just wants to take care of it with his army of fangirls. Do we know anybody in this anime that has an army of fangirls?
Well, I was going to say Natsu, but I think I'm probably wrong.
It's Sojiro. Where all the girls fan over him. And I love how they plan this is like, oh, get a 20-minute date with Sojiro if you go on patrol with him. And he starts this giant platoon of fangirls, and we see the power of the fangirl.
Not just a few platoons. We're talking 20 platoons going around the city, like just like, how can you say no to pretty girls?
Yeah, and I love how they kind of explain it. It's like, oh, the fangirls, they already have, they're self-organized, so they have their own inner ranks in their fangirlness on here.
They're bound by sisterhood, or as they say.
And then what's even another great part is like, well, since they only care about relationships all day, they can deal with the domestic disputes and every other disputes because they're experienced in that. I love it where how you attack random is you just send in fangirls and they'll take care of it. Makes me want to have some fangirls.
Not gonna happen.
Oh, sad.
If there's anyone who out there wants to be part of the Kita Anime Podcast fan club, go ahead and send your emails to kita@ktdata.net.
Well, we're accepting applications all the time.
All the time.
And then
like the moment I start talking about that, I get that feedback again.
And then right at the end of this episode, kind of as planned, we see the villain meet the Western Lord. Dun dun dun.
And the sparks will fly. I mean, I don't know how they could not have left this off at a more like just like a plot thickening event. It's just like as soon as the next episode starts, I know it's just all out war almost.
And it's going to be a cliffhanger next episode too. Episode 25 is our last episode of this season. It's going to be a long summer, man. Because so far, the writing, the pacing, everything in Log Horizon has just kept you wanting for next week. You know they're going to go all out on this last one where you're going to be like, oh, why isn't there a new episode next week? It's sad.
It is very sad. And we're going to be very sad when we have to do next week or next episode and only have one episode to do it. Yeah. But on that note, too, stay tuned for our next episode of Kita Anime Podcast when we still have 2 episodes of Nisekoi and 1 of Log Horizon, but we will also have our previews.
The spring anime preview.
So if anyone out there really wants to see about some suggestions, go ahead and send it to our Facebook page at facebook.com/ktdatanet, or go ahead and email us again at kita@ktdata.net.
Yeah, or you can send it to us on Twitter. You can find us at KTData or at Ahoy Baby on there. Yep. I'm super excited. What you don't have to wait until next fall for is the next episode of the Kita Anime Podcast, because this one, sadly, is over right now. Aww. But of course, that next episode will be in 2 weeks, and it will be May 6th, 2014. And you can find that at ktdata.net/live. And if you didn't hear at the beginning, and if you're not going to remember those dates, just hit the subscribe button on whatever you're listening to this on, and it will get delivered to you. All fun, right? On there.
Love technology.
Yeah. And there's more, Dito. It's like an infomercial.
Wait, there's more?
Yeah. Keep your eye on ktdata.net. We have a boatload of stuff coming out in the next few weeks. You heard us mention it at the top of the show. Dito and I, we spent this weekend downtown Salt Lake City, Salt Palace, at the 2014 Fan X. Like Fan X, right there. I even got a plaque.
Fan experience is what they call it, but we call it FanX.
Yeah. So Dito and I, we combed the floor to find the best boost from the show and bring it to you guys. So if you guys missed the show, you could be there on there. We even got a few interviews with sister podcast host of sister podcast Rachel from the Little Big Cast, doing a couple of them. So that was fun. That's awesome, and it's going to be amazing. Make sure you guys go check that out. Yes, Winston, this is going on. This still is going on. We also have a ton of reviews. I'm getting my Loot Crate mystery box tomorrow. So there's going to be a What's in the Box video coming out soon. There is a review of Demon Gaze that is coming out very, very soon if I can stop trying to customize the crap out of it and actually play the game. And then, Dito, am I missing anything?
Yes, we're also going to try to set up one of the booths we came across is called Japanese the Game, which is a Japanese sentence structure card game. And hopefully me and KT can set up a time to play it.
Yeah. See, it's boatloads of content. So just keep an eye on ktdata.net and all our social media things, because that's where you're going to see it. And it's going to be amazing. So thank you guys at home for listening, watching, or mocking us, whatever, on there. We appreciate it. Dito, thank you for being here. I'm surprised that you're not sick of me by now after spending 3 days hanging out in the meat space.
I have a lot of patience.
All right, guys. We will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye. The meat space, where you meet for real. Don't forget to wear deodorant in the meat space.
Yes, meat.
Space.
Meat space.